We have a great, I think we put together a pretty good presentation for you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me kick it off here with our countdown. And so I can get my Camtasia going, and then we'll jump right in. So I was trying to figure out how to title this, and it was just pretty obvious how I beat Wall Street 7 years running. And I'll show you what all that means as we get into it. But first of all, welcome, welcome, welcome. I really appreciate everybody being here. This is exciting for me. We really don't do this very often, and I love to get a chance to kind of showcase what I'm doing as far as trading and what we're doing in bias, and talk about some of the things that that I have going on. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting to a lot of people. I know we have a lot of new people in here, or newer, that aren't familiar with bias, for example, and what we're doing. But this is going to be the chance to look under the hood, pull the curtain back, see exactly what we're going on in there in the room, and the trades we're doing, the exact trades and so forth. So it should be very interesting. So first of all, I want to kind of clarify that what I'm talking about and what I typically, or what I've always kind of gravitated toward, is the serious money, the safe money. Your IRA, for example, or retirement money, that type thing, or whatever it means to you. Maybe it's just your trading account and you only have so much and you can't lose it, and that type thing. So whatever you consider your safe money. And again, we've got tons and tons of things to talk about. Daryl is exactly right. Pull out a pad and paper, write some notes down if you would like, or if something pops in your head. I'm not going to stop as we go through, but this is not a very long webinar anyway, and we'll have plenty of time for questions afterwards. So let's jump right in. So the purpose in this, as I was putting all this stuff together, we here at Simpler, we really do love to help people learn and teach and help people make money. I really want to help people get to the next level in their trading. And, in order to do that, as we go through this, and you'll see what I'm talking about, I want to make sure that you are a good fit for the topics that we're discussing, because everybody's different. So we're going to talk about that. But first, for everyone that does not know me, if you're new to Simpler or newer and you don't know who I am, this is me. My name is Bruce Marshall. I am Senior Income Trading Specialist at Simpler, and I actually got licensed in the business in 1988, and I've been trading professionally for 32 years. And I traded on both sides of the fence, as it were. I traded on the institutional side for a while. I traded on the retail side for a while. I worked on a bond desk. I worked on a muni desk for a while. Traded corporates, governments, equities, IPO, did a lot of IPOs, did secondaries. You probably heard me in the room today talking about, if you were in there, I was talking about for a pretty good period of time, I did stock option exercise for CEOs, doing Rule 144 stock exercise and all that kind of stuff. And back then, I literally had to calculate the taxes that they would pay on the exercise and all that kind of stuff. It's way before, the technology is as evolved as it is now. But the reason that's important is it gives me a really unique advantage in working with different ways of trading over, a long period of time, trading on different exchanges, trading different strategies, kind of what works, what doesn't. And of course, different technologies over a long, long period of time. 32 years is a long time. Technology is lightning fast now, and we all get bogged down, in TOS, for example, every now and then. Oh, it's going so slow, and and then it is frustrating. But I look back and go, man, I used to write my order entries on paper tickets, literally, and then so we've come light years ahead. So back in the day when I was managing clients' accounts and institutional accounts, it was actually pretty easy, because I had, a boss in most cases looking over my shoulder going, don't lose money, don't lose money, don't lose money. And I had, a couple of $100 million that I'm managing, and, you come in and do your thing, right? But My challenge was being consistent on my personal accounts, because that was kind of a different thing. I'm seeing these really, really large accounts, and I'm thinking, how do I get my, account up to one of these larger sizes? And I would do all the wrong things. And, it happened again and again and again. So finally, I made all the dumb mistakes that every trader makes. I blew out some accounts, and it's painful. Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt. Luckily, I haven't blown out an account in like 25 years. It's been a long, long, long time. But the way I fixed my personal trading problem was that I developed my own style, and I had the discipline through those painful experiences to learn to stick with it. And the longer you stick with something and you learn it, of course, you get better and better and better. So what is my style? And if you've traded for any length of time, I think most of us in here probably have, we know there's different styles, right? There's a lot of ways to do this. There's a lot of ways to make money, many, 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 many different types of traders. And you really have to find the style that fits your personality, your temperament, your risk tolerance, all that, and not jump from thing to thing, from different types, back and forth, back and forth. And we call that, chasing the shiny ball. And a lot of people are guilty of that. And that's one of the things that, we all need to work on, right? But think about this. Are you a scalper, day trader, swing trader, position trader? It does make a difference, because some people are just flat better at one style than the other, right? So what I developed, or what I came up to the conclusion and came up with, is that I need to develop a hybrid style for myself, because I'm kind of long term, I'm kind of short term, somewhere in between. So I've got a hybrid income trading strategy that's really kind of the best of both worlds, in my opinion, and it's more slow and steady. And we know that no one strategy, no one style works all the time. But I think the hybrid income style is the least volatile, and I think is absolutely the most consistent. And what I'm looking for is, is a positive equity growth curve. So does my style really work? Well, I created Bias in 2013, and I haven't had a down year yet since we started 7 years. I've had losing trades, but I never had a down year. And what we all should want is a lower left to upper right P&L growth curve, right? So if you look at this is what we have been faced with lately. This is coronavirus here. This is really a true roller coaster market. No matter how long you've been trading, you really hadn't seen this before. I haven't seen this before. And I traded through the .com crash. I traded through 9/11 with serious money. I traded through all that stuff. I've traded through flash crash, all that housing crisis, all that stuff, right? Go back 32 years. I've done it. So coming into this and the flush down and the move back up, I've made money all the way through it. Now, these are bias trades. Not only me, I've done these in my personal account too, but everybody that's in bias has been with me on this ride. So we made 515 there, we made 510 there, we made 1100 here, 1100, all the way down and all the way back up, for a total of about $7,500, and never missed a wink of sleep really over these trades. You take heat on trades and so forth, but and I'm not just cherry picking the positive ones. There were really no serious losers through here either. I'm going to show you the results here in just a minute. Well, actually, I'll show them to you right now. Check this out. So let's take a closer look. All right, so here are the actual numbers for bias. I take the count, the last 2 years, I've taken the account down to 25,000 at the beginning of the year, 25,000 here, and I took it back down to 25,000 here. And we can get into reasoning why. I used to do it 100,000, but I brought it down to kind of fit more. You can easily size these trades up or down, but check this out. So started with 25,000. We just doubled the account last Friday, literally. We were at 20, and actually we closed another one today for about $700 more. It's not even included in this, but we're over 25,000. Started with 25, so we doubled it in 6 months. But what's more important to me, so this is every month. January 2019, February, month by month by month, and there's the actual returns all the way down. So the last time we had a down month was February of 2019. It was $5. And before that, it was January, 731. So in the last year and a half, we've lost $736 on a monthly basis, right? I'm pretty proud of that. That's pretty good. And you can see 700, 1,000, 1,002. I try to make $1,000 a month or two or something, and that's kind of, for this size account, that's kind of fine. We've been crushing it this year. 4,000. We made one there, made 9,000 there. Three. We're actually up over 4 now. But anyway, very, very consistent. That's the name of the game. All these trades they're all documented. Every trade is documented and they're available to all bias members. We all see them. We all take them together at the same time and all that kind of stuff. And we go over the trade concept and the entry and exit and all that kind of stuff, right? So what's the secret sauce? Well, it's simple math. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is kind of cool. If you've never thought about this, you should. In your trading account, so for a $25,000 account, let's say we want to double it, right? If you divide by 12 months, that's $2,000. You only got to make $2,000 a month. So you divide that by 4 weeks in a month, it's $520 a week. Divided by 5 days in a week, it's $100 a day to double your account in a year. $104.17 a day to double your account in a year, right? And I know, we're just hold tight. There's more to it. But we have been averaging about $183 a day, roughly, something like that, maybe a little bit more. So we've doubled it in 6 months. This is in a year. But that's the math, right? And that sounds pretty easy, and it is, right? But let me show you this. On average, there's 252 trading days in a year. So on a $50,000 account, you got to make $200 a day. $100,000 account, you got to make about $400 a day, right? This is very doable, right? $1 million account, add a zero on here, $3,900. $250,000 account, so forth. The math is pretty easy, and that's the way that I was taught to think about growing a portfolio. It's not, hitting the home run. And, I turned a $500 account into 12 million in a month, and I played golf the whole time. Yeah, that's stuff you guys know that's not reality, right? But guess what? Most important thing, if you don't remember anything else, if you make $200 a day, for example, you just can't lose $4,000 or $5,000 on a trade, because that blows the math and that puts you 6 months behind, right? You just can't do that. And again, that's the whole goal. That's the point of trading, right? Is be consistent. Now, it's easy to say, okay, let's make $100 a day. In reality, do we make $100 a day? Well, I look at it on a weekly basis, and I say, in general, if I can make $500 to $1,000 a week, I'm okay, right? It doesn't have to be giant, huge numbers, right? And again, just bear with me if you're not in with this program, but I mean the math here. But this math is what works, and it's what's kept me kind of, in the middle of the road for a long time. So you might be looking at that. We've already looked at the monthly returns, but you might be saying, I bet he made all that profit in 1 or 2 trades. And yes, we hit home runs every now and then. Everyone does, It is awesome when it happens, but I'm really a singles and doubles kind of guy. And in bias, I tell people all the time when we're closing a trade, I'm like, you can hang around in this trade. I said it today. I said, we closed the trade today and we were up, guess what? About $750. And I'm like, you know what? Let's take this win. If you want to stay in it, you know, it's fine. It's more aggressive. Here's the risk that you might be facing if you stay in it, all that kind of stuff. But I'm a singles and doubles kind of guy, all about consistency. So let's look at the results. Here's what everybody wants to see, right? These are the actual bias trades. All trades are numbered. When I started, I literally started with trade number 1. And now we're at trade number 753. And these go from most recent down. So check this out. We just closed one for $700 that's not on this list. I made $765 actually. But trade 750 here, $700, 17, 840, 50, 12, 1500, 11, 250, etc. So what's great about this? Well, if you look, this is 35, 735 to 745. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 trades with 15 trades in a row with no loser. And here we lost $900. You know, so be it. That's it. There's a loser in there, right? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades in a row, no loser, and we lost 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in a row. Yes, we have losers. You know, nobody goes without having losers ever. But look at the losers. The biggest one over here is about $1,200. So this is all the way down to trade 676, which is about a year and a half's worth of trades right here. These are real trades. There's no smoke and mirrors here. That's it, right? And I've got all the other trades. If you want to go back, yes, I've had some bigger losers over time. I used to have $100,000 in this account. And I found that most people, it's much easier for people to size up in most cases than people to size down. So when we had a larger account, I ran it with 100,000 for about 3 years, 3 or 4 years, I guess. And you know, the losses were bigger, but we never had a down year, and that's the beauty of it, right? So let's jump in here and look at a couple of trades. Here's an Amazon trade. The reason I want to show this is that Amazon is crazy vehicle to trade. We know it's awesome. This was an iron condor, I believe, that we traded during this pause around this tree line right here. But you trade this very differently than you trade this, right? Different type vehicle for these trades, and we switch. We're always trying to read the market, look at the volatility, what kind of instrument we're going to use, or are we going to avoid this or whatever. Same thing. Here's Nvidia. We came up into the tree line right here. We made $670. Again, not a lot of money. They all add up. Singles and doubles, right? Costco, we made $1,000 here on this one as we came into this fire line. I use the voodoo lines a lot, as you can tell. I really like them, among other things. Use fib levels pretty consistently and constantly. Gilead trade here, we made $1,000. This was kind of interesting trade. This was around the coronavirus kind of stuff, and we sold some naked puts. We got put to, and then we got the stock, and then we wrote some covered calls on it. And it's just a sleep at night kind of stock or kind of trade, and I like those. Again, it's singles and doubles. That's why I want to make sure that I want you to get the concept through your head that, hey, maybe this actually does work, and not, well, that's not much money, because it is a lot of money. It really adds up. And if you think about it on a weekly basis, what do you have to make on a daily basis? What do you have to make on a weekly basis? What do you make on a monthly basis to end up at the quarter and the semi-annual and the annual returns that you want? And again, from doing this professionally at the fund level, that's the way I was taught from all of my mentors, right? So let's check out bias, because it's funny. When I'm in the room sometime, I talk about bias, and people are like, what is it? Where do I find it? It's on the dashboard of Simpler. This is the options room. That's the futures. That is foundation, and this is bias. There's Fibonacci, and so forth. But anyway, dashboard just like this. Videos, learning center updates, spreadsheets, etc. again, a lot of people don't even know that it's there if if you've never looked for it. But if you were in bias, and again, I'm highlighting bias, but I'm leading to how we can put all these trades into into order and make a plan, a program out of them, and we'll get to that in just a second. But if you're in bias, how do you get notifications for the trades? And I send out alerts. We have a room just exactly like the main room, and I'll send alerts out. And I just did some screenshots. These are recent ones. This is July 7th. I found a new trade idea for us, and I'm going to post it in about 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm going to jump in the bias room for a quick breakout session, BO's breakout session. No rush on this one. I'll update out soon. That was at 12:56. At 1:15, okay, as discussed, let's start a double calendar for next week. Fish for it. I copy and paste these. So if you have no idea how to do this trade, all you gotta do is copy and paste it, right? And I've got a video on how to copy and paste it. I try to make it super, super, super easy for people. Try to get filled at 685 or less, etc. Then in the breakout session, the videos are posted as soon as we do this, within about an hour or something like that. In this video, we discuss the new trade and go over the entry pricing and the plan for the trade. Got to have a plan for the trade. And why did we take that trade in the first place? And why is this a good time to take it? And why did you use, this, butterfly versus a calendar or versus a vertical or something like that? Here's another breakout session. We had a win. We're going to try to decide if we're going to take the win or hold tight and go over potential new trades. Here's one. There's not much to do. Let's plan out the next couple of days. I'm always trying to think ahead and trying to let everybody know what's coming up so you don't get surprised and you're not sitting there and, boom, you get a text alert. I try. It's hard when the market's moving fast, but we all try to, give everybody a heads up. So what type trades do we actually do in bias? And it's a variety, of course. There's that Gilead. We did a covered call, and this is actually on the dashboard. Every trade, entry date, entry price, exit, number of contracts, etc. Very, very, very detailed. Trade number, closing date, all that stuff, right? Long stock. We did a put diagonal or call diagonal here. Broken wing fly. We sold naked put on Gilead. The single calendar, double calendar. And, and honestly, looking back, I'm going to show you some more returns here in just a minute, but looking back this year, the vast majority of our trades have been calendars and diagonals because they have been crushing it this year because of the pumped up volatility. Now, that wasn't really the case, years ago, but it's the case right now. And the reason that is important is you got to know when to use which type trade, because I can tell you trading this is much different than trading this, and trading this is much different than trading this. So you switch back and forth. We use verticals here, maybe calendars, maybe we use butterflies here, long calls, debit spreads, credit spreads. Put credit spreads, you sell put credit spreads all the way up, and buy debit spreads or whatever. Lots of different things you can do, but more importantly for me, this is key. This is the volatility. So I'm watching highs and lows and volatility, and I'm trying to take advantage of all this when I can. This is how we've been crushing it with this volatility, and it continues to work. I've been doing this. I've been doing switching back and forth on these strategies since I've been trading, but you got to know this stuff, right? You put yourself at a huge disadvantage. We're all looking for an edge, and most people think, the edge is getting a nickel cheaper price going in. It's not. It's knowing which trade to use and when to avoid a trade and use one strategy over the other strategy, that type of thing. That's the edge. So here, I went back and looked. Again, these are bias trades. Remember when Netflix just stalled out here for a long time? Well, we started selling iron condors. And the first one, we made 705, not a lot, but came back, double dipped it for 271, came back, triple dipped it for 771. That's $1,700. And this was kind of yawn. There's just not much going on here. You trade this much differently than you trade this. And that's, most people, I guess, get that. but it's very, very, very important. The same thing, Google here. We've actually traded Google with a handful of calendars, but this, I believe, was an Iron Condor. Again, $405. If we can throw one on, it's got an 85% probability of profit, and we don't lose any sleep over it. Make $400. That's pretty good. The next one here is Apple. Same thing, $350. And it's funny. I do hear people, I'm just a singles doubles kind of guy. I just always have been. And this was burned in my brain. One of my mentors, I've had quite a few mentors over the years. One of my mentors, when I was working on the institutional side, we were working downtown and we used to walk down this cafe at lunchtime every now and then. And I'll never forget, he used to tell me this all the time. I've said this in the room. If you're walking down the sidewalk and there's $100 bill laid on the sidewalk, you're going to dive onto it and you're going to grab it. And then you're going to look around, make sure nobody's looking. Whose is this? What if it's $500 and it's on the sidewalk and it's just sitting there? You look around, nobody's around, you pick it up. You know what you're going to do? I promise you, when you get home, you're going to tell your spouse, significant other, you're going to call your buddy. You're not going to believe what happened. You're going to post it on Twitter. I found $500 a day, and you're going to be so happy, right? But when people make $500 on a trade, they're like, $500, I had to pay commission. I could have gotten more, so think about it in a different frame of mind. And it really makes a difference, honestly. And again, it depends on what size account you're trading. If you're trading $1 million account, now you're talking about finding $5,000 on the sidewalk. And, if you kind of think about it in those terms, it kind of puts it back in perspective. And it also clarifies that you cannot lose $5,000 on a trade very often and make the math work. Occasionally something's just going to blow up. You're just going to step on a landmine. That's just trading. That's the way it is, right? But you just can't do it on a consistent basis, right? So, of course, bias can help you. I eat, sleep, and breathe bias. I love it. I trade my own accounts. I've traded a lot of different accounts in different sizes, but they're all kind of based around the bias type trades. And I'm in all these trades. So it is a great source for trade ideas. If you just want some trade ideas, I really think the educational aspect of bias is the best part and is the most overlooked part of bias. People will tell me, I'll get an email, or people will tell me from time to time, when you do those breakout sessions, that's where the gold nuggets are, because I never knew why this or that. I never knew the difference in the skew made so much difference, or I never understood the vol crush made so much difference, or what Vega was, or whatever. And I'm constantly, every single trade, we're going over these details, right? And these are all recorded. You have hours and hours and hours of how and why. So bias can help you, absolutely can help you. So I wanted to put a couple of testimonials. You got to have testimonials, right? People talk about you. And there's so many that I said, I'll just throw some of these up here. But this is kind of funny. You guys get a kick out of this. Tom, if you're in here. So I ask in bias day. I don't like to use anybody's name without asking. So I asked Tom today. I said, hey, guys, we were doing a breakout session. I said, hey, I'm going to post some quotes in the presentation tonight. Do you mind if I use some of yours? Because Tom's a buddy of mine and he's a great trader. Yes, I love to be quoted. Also willing to talk to anybody who may want more information on your mentorship. We're going to talk about that mentorship. Big fan. And then T-Bird, I know you're probably in here too. I ditto Tom's comments. The mentorship's invaluable. Again, we're going to talk about the mentorship and how it aligns with bias. Willing to talk to anyone, etc. Dr. Bob, trades are awesome. Sean in Ireland. I started learning, look at this. I started learning how you do your trades. It has been a great game changer for me. That's what I like to hear. JKD, yet another winner. Loving these trades. Steve, comprehensible, sensible, profitable, great plan, with you all the way. Highlander, thanks. Account is at all-time high. So the other part of this that's to me is so key, and I'm going to show you some more, is that we have such a great trading community in the bias room. Now, bias room's open all day long, all night long if you want to be in there. We have some really good traders in there, and it's taken a while to get it, to where we're all buddies in there, and we all share trade ideas, and we help each other with questions and problems, not only about bias trades, but any trade, right? But check this out, Cody. My first week here, I paid for a membership. Vanessa's been crushing it too. Paid for a year's worth of bias by my second week. Judy, much less stressful and more profitable for me. Dave, good profitable, stress-free. Thanks for the trades. HPP's always been in here a long time. Made a ton of, let's see, I know a ton of money left in it. Taking $2,000. Stefan's at 14,000 on the week. PF's 994 on that trade. Joyce booked 4,200. Craig, making it easy to sleep at night. Again, I'm just showing you this because these are real people. I'm sure there's in the chat right now, but this is what goes on in there. And again, you can tell I'm excited about it. I really eat, sleep, and breathe it, and it works, right? So here's Joyce again. This is a different trade. She made 4,200 on the other one. This is a different trade. 2,400 on this one. Jim here. I asked Jim. I was like, "You care if I quote this? Check this out. Listen to this. I held on to my structured trade through yesterday afternoon. Evolved so much. I made well over 20,000 on this one trade. Your structured trades have made me well over 6 figures this year. So you can size these things up. This is not for a baby account. This is for any size account. The beauty of it is you can size it up. You can size it down. Either way. Baby Bear, I saw you in here already. About $1,200 profit. Another great trade. Stan always crushes it. Check this out. $25,000. That's one trade. Tom again up 17,000. Stan stayed in this week's. That DD is double diagonal for 14,000. And here's what I wanted to. The last one, because you guys these are all people that we trade with in the bias room. This room has been great. Learned so much. Can fish on my own. If you remember nothing else, you got to learn how to fish on your own, and that's what I really, really strive to do. And ironically, Stacy, said this morning, and I already had this in here, my image of teaching people how to fish, because this is where let's do a little transition here. This is where we go to, okay, this sounds great. I know bias works. I've seen the proof. I could go back 7 years and I could show you 2 hours worth of returns and they'd all look pretty similar. But if you're serious about taking responsibility for your own financial destiny, you need to know how to do this on your own. I will help as long as I'll be trading as long as I'm breathing. That's the cool thing is, when you get older, you may not be able to go out and, play football or whatever, but you can trade until the end, as long as you mentally got it. But if you really want to get serious, you really want to learn this, you really should consider my personal coaching program, which is a mentorship. It's worth its weight in gold. If you know how to do this, you can do it on your own. You know how to fish. You've seen the comments, the testimonials from people, and the people that have taken the mentorships from me before can tell you it's very, very, very thorough and very comprehensive. So I truly believe anyone can do this. The cool thing about being a trader, especially doing this for a living, is that there's really no bar for entry. You could borrow $5,000 from somebody and start trading, as long as you don't lose it, which goes back to my first thing, don't lose any money. That's what Warren Buffett says, never forget, don't lose money. And number 2 rule, golden rules, don't forget new rule number 1. Well, that was burned into my brain, from the institutional side. But once you are consistent, your whole outlook on trading and your actual life actually changes. You realize that you really can be independent. You guys see it. You guys see people making big money in the room. It happens all the time, right? I just believe anybody can, if you've got bad habits, which most people, myself included, there are always things I can work on, I improve on, and I do. I learn just like everybody else, because no one will ever know it all. I can promise you that. You never get to that point. I've been doing this 32 years, and I still learn stuff that I didn't know before, or new ways of doing things, or more efficient ways of doing things, more effective ways. But I believe anyone can overcome trading fears and grow an account in a consistent way. I really do. So imagine what really being consistent. Say, look back 7 years. You've been trading 7 years. Have you been consistent every year? Well, maybe, maybe not. What if you were? And what if you look forward and say, what if I'm consistent for the next 5, 10, 15 years? I got 15 years for retirement. What if I could do, whatever your number is, fill in the blank? What would that mean? Freedom, freedom, freedom. You travel, golf. You guys know, I see you guys trading from the beach all the time. And, I do too. When I'm traveling, I got a laptop. You see John Carter trading from the Caymans. It's reality, it's not just a dream. Spend time with family, grandkids, whatever you imagine in your mind, right? Extra income, whatever that means to you, new car, boat, whatever, bigger retirement nest egg, so forth, but less stress. I'm all about less stress. And I can tell you from doing this for a long, long time, especially when I was managing much, much larger accounts, when the market was going crazy and all that kind of stuff, I can't tell you how many times, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's always 4 o'clock in the morning, exactly. And I wake up and you got to roll over and check the futures, and then you can't go back to sleep and you're worried because the futures are way up or way down. I don't like doing that anymore. I like to sleep like a baby and get up and go, oh, okay, let me go check and see what's happening. And because I know my trades are going to be all right. Or I will have a plan in case they're not all right. Right. So, picture what your dream of trading success is, right? So how do you make it a reality? It is simple as got to have knowledge, got to have discipline, 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 very important. And you got to practice, Tiger Woods hits 10,000 golf balls, practice balls a year, and, whatever. You just can't go out there and read one book and on golfing and go out and play at his level, right? You got to practice, practice, practice. Everybody knows that. So to help you on your trading journey, my coaching program is a 7-week, 7-part curriculum that can absolutely help you get to the next level. I'll tell you a little bit more about how it works. But first, let's look at this. Why do most people fail? And unfortunately, most people do fail. And you guys know that, just even from the trading room, oh, where's so-and-so? He's in here every day and now he's not anymore. Well, there's a reason usually, or her. But I've over 32 years, I've seen so many come and go, good friends of mine too. And I always wondered why some make it and some don't. And here are the main reasons, I think. And these are not in any order, but I think number one is failure to manage your risk. That's probably the number one. You could probably scratch everything out if you manage your risk. The best traders are the best risk managers, period, right? No plan. People come in every morning. Well, I don't really know what I'm going to trade. I really don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to see what happens. You got to have a plan. That's, you can't just wing it. You can't guess. Swinging for the fence, huge no in my book. I will swing for the fence on a lotto ticket and risk. You guys always see in the room. I will say, I'll throw $500 out there just to see. I'm in Vegas. I walk up to the roulette wheel, whatever. $500 is not going to really even hurt my feelings for the most part. 5,000 does, but 500, you just can't swing for the fence, and be consistent. I just don't think anyone can. Never adopting a style, very, very, very important. Think about what you like, what resonates with you, what your risk tolerance is, et cetera. You can't be, unfortunately, you can't be the best futures traders ever. You can't be the best and at the same time be the best Forex trader ever and the best options trader ever and the best stock trader ever all at the same time. You can't do it. You have to focus. That's why heart doctors don't also do brain surgery and foot surgery and, you know, that kind of stuff. It's, you got to pick one, right? And your style honestly generally picks you, because you're like, hey, I usually make my most successful trades are whatever they are, and that gets you to your style. Improper allocation. This happened to me when the dot-coms blew up. I was, 100% NASDAQ long, buying pets.com and, all of the dot-com stuff. And, you can't do that. Plus, to take it one level deeper, you have to also be balanced Greek-wise. Are you short too much Vega? Are you long too much Vega? And you may think it doesn't matter, but when vols start moving around, it all of a sudden matters, and you don't know why if you don't know that, right? And lastly, not using technical analysis. Here at Simpler, you guys know we have a plethora of awesome tools to use, technical analysis tools. We've got fib levels and voodoo lines, and I mean, all the squeeze and all of this, squeeze pro and ready aim fire and all this kind of great Darvis box and all that stuff. And I'm just scratching the surface. You guys know we got a lot of them, and they're awesome. You got to learn what works for you, what works on the time frame you're trading. What doesn't work for you, throw it away, get rid of it. Focus on simplicity, and it makes a big difference. But the other reason that most people fail is not seeking help, not willing to pay for advice, hire a mentor, hire a coach, even if it's just a buddy that trades and you think knows more than you do. Partner up with him, team up with him. One of the best things you can do is be accountable and show somebody your trades and tell them why you made money or lost money. And you will stop bad habits pretty quickly, especially if it's your spouse or significant other. But I put this in your wire doctor's residence before they're actual doctors. And it's because they are under the direct supervision of an attending physician while they are learning, right? And that's their coaching. And, that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars for them in student loans to figure it out. Once they figure it out, I got it, right? I can make my own money. I know what I'm doing, right? That's the whole point. And honestly, it's not about having superpowers. I mean, you guys may think so sometimes when we pull a rabbit out of a hat on a trade or something. But it's more about following a system. And, just ask yourself, why am I really doing this? What do I want to accomplish? If this is a hobby for you, maybe that's a different conversation, because that's why I said it's just may not be right for everyone. But, think about this. How much money have you lost by trial and error? And I mean, seriously, think about that. And it's probably much more than you want to admit. We've all done it. I mean, I've had some big losses before. Way back in the day. I don't have many more, but I did, at one point. But I put this picture in here. Not all trades go well. I put this picture in here. You guys have probably heard this story before. Back when I was on the institutional side, at the end of the week, we're all squaring up our books, and it's Friday, and we're talking. And, how'd you do this week? Oh, I did pretty good. How'd you do this week? Oh, I burned up another Ferrari. And that was always the joke, is that, you lost 250 grand or whatever on the week, and you could have gone out and bought a Ferrari and set it on fire, and it would have been more fun, right? I mean, literally. And think about that too. When you have a losing trade and it's $5,000, you think, man, I could have gone to or Bora Bora on vacation. I could have bought that Rolex watch I want, whatever, fill in the blank. That's what grinds on me when I have losing trades. So following a system works. We know it works. So check this out. You might have seen the email on this. And I happened to mention this to one of the marketing guys. We were talking about returns and all that kind of stuff. And I said, well, I'm always trying to keep losses at a minimum. And I said, well, I started this account this year. I put $10,000 in this account, small account. I trade multiple accounts. And so I put $10,000 first of the year. I'm up $28,000. So the account is now worth $38,000. It's actually right at 40. So $38,000 now. I got $28,000 profit on 10. And that's wow, that's pretty cool, right? Well, that's not the impressive part to me. Check this out. Here's P&L. I did make most of it on the S&P, but check it out. My biggest loss for the year, $279. And I challenge you, pull up your toss count when this is over and look at this. You need to know this stuff, right? If it's all over the place, if your biggest, if you have a $21,000 loss and a $21,000 gain, and your P&L is $400 profit or something, that's a problem. That's a problem. It should be, you should be thinking this. It should be getting tiny, 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 tiny down here at the bottom. And if you do that and you look at this all the time and force yourself to look at it, it will force you to become a better trader. And I'm just, this is just stuff that I think is helpful, right? So why am I doing this? And honestly, I really, anybody that knows me and has traded with me for any length of time, I just really enjoy it. I eat, sleep, and breathe trading. I always have. And I really enjoy helping people learn. And, I just talk about options, but I also know the pain that I used to feel at the end of the year looking at my P&L, because I would trade hard. I mean, I'm trading hard, a lot of money trading hard, a lot of volume, and I'm doing good, and make some money, lose some money, make some money, lose some money, make some money, lose some money. And I don't know how many of you are guilty of this, because I used to do this. I would cover up my P&L because I didn't want to look at it. I'd have a big loss, lose $40,000. I'm like, I'm not going to look at it. I know what I have to make back. And you trade and trade and trade, and you make $40,000 back or whatever. And at the end of the year, you've traded, you traded so much, you've got more in commission than your profit. That's not how you do this. That's not how you stay in the game. And I know how degrading that is. You feel like a gambler, and everybody's been through that, and I'm not, everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? So I would highly recommend, if you want to take your game to the next level, that you consider this coaching program. I would absolutely consider bias. I would do both, and I'll show you how they kind of tie together here in a second. But in the coaching program, the mentorship, I keep calling it a coaching program because this is a 7-week course. This is a deep dive. This is like a college semester. This is not one weekend of classes. This is 7 weeks of training and trading, right? So we're going to learn how to be consistent. We are going to learn the details of the strategies. We're going to know when to use a trade and when not to. We're going to build a trading plan that works for you. We're going to work on the mental game. Very, very important. People overlook this all the time. And most of all, you're going to get all your questions answered, because we will be trading together for a month and a half, right? So that sounds great. What should you not expect? This is not, obviously, this is not a get rich quick thing. It drives me up the wall when I'm on YouTube or whatever, and I see you see the guys, the guys that are on the private jet, and they say, I started with $1,000 and now I've got 8 million, and it was so easy. If you know this one formula, you can do it. And that's total BS. It doesn't work, right? Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox on that. I can't magically solve your trading problems without some effort and discipline on your part to follow, what the plan, what we're doing. And I'll, and never expect to have no losing trades. It's taken me a long time to get as consistent as I'm getting. I went back and looked on those trades earlier that I was showing you guys, and I think we had I think we had 75 trades positive and 15 losers, so it's running 80%, kind of win rate. And it's been that way for a long time, but not that high. Maybe it was 73 to 76 for a while, and it's coming up, but it will come up for you too over time, right? And again, everybody's different. Everybody trades different. Everybody has a little different risk tolerance and pain tolerance, maybe, I guess, or in your trading. So you have to do what works for you. So who would I say this is for? This is anybody that's serious about getting their trading to the next level. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. If you're tired of spending more on commission, and let me say this, because this, and you guys know, you guys in bias, this does kind of, I chuckle and I'm happy when I say this. All year long, if you've been listening to the Wednesday night videos when I do the videos, I always say cash is a position and sit on your hands, all that kind of stuff. I have done, in the last 12 months, I have done fewer trades than I've probably done in, I don't know, the last handful of years. I really haven't done a lot of number of trades, and I've been more profitable, more consistent, the whole time. And it's, you don't have to be in there every day trying to find a trade just to find a trade. I just won't force a trade. If its setup's not there, as Carolyn says, Fibonacci queen, no trigger, no trade. You don't have to, if you beat the bushes and you turn over all the rocks and there's no trade, you just don't trade, And I say all the time, trading is 80% waiting and 20% trade setup, but again, this is for anybody that just once you learn this, you get more freedom in your life and you can guide your own destiny. And again, who's it not a good fit for? If you had unrealistic expectations, nobody can help you if you have unrealistic expectations. And I hate to say that, but people get such misinformation out in on the internet. And I will have people that literally tell me, well, I've got a $30,000 account to trade and I want it to be, 300,000 by the end of the year, but I also need to take out $5,000 a month to live on. And I'm like, go to Vegas and put it all on black, or take that 30 and buy lottery tickets or something. Cause this is, unrealistic expectations. All right. If you're not willing to put the time in, to study and learn the material, probably not for you. I got a story about everything, but my best friend, my whole life, he has been dying to get me to teach him how to trade for years. And come on, man. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's get started. And, you're going to need to do this and this and this. And first you got to open up an account at Toss and, let's start, put 10,000 bucks in it and we'll get started, whatever. And he won't even open the account. And he's my best friend. I talk to him all the time. And I'm like, if you're not willing to put the time in, I can't help you. Right. And that goes to stick to a plan. We can formulate a good, solid plan, but you got to stick to it. So in the coaching program, because again, we're talking about using bias as a trade reference, trade service to do all this for you, or do you want to learn how to take it to the next level and fish for yourself? And I think everyone should, because we know that the market we're dealing in right now is not reality. This is bizarro world. And I think it's going to get worse. We've got all kind of coronavirus stuff. We've got China. We've got presidential election coming up. Whoever wins either side, it's going to be crazy on the other side. It's going to be crazy going up into that. So you really, really got to know this stuff, right? But you really need to take the coaching program to learn the deep dive of the specific strategies. Maybe you don't even know how to do whatever calendar or a broken wing butterfly or whatever, why, you know how to set it up, but you don't know why you're doing it. Well, that doesn't really help you, when to use a strategy, when not, how to defend. I'm all about defending trades if it is, if the math tells you that it's reasonable to stay in a trade and defend it. Otherwise, you pull the plug. It's like it's on life support. It's not going to work. Boom, we're out. Salvage what's left and move on. Go find the next one. Right. All about volatility. This is probably one of the most misunderstood or least understood things about trading. You got to know how your trades are affected by volatility. Period. That's just it. You got to know the Greeks. Unfortunately, whatever style trading, if you plan on being here, trading for any length of time, you got to know this stuff, right? And how to manage an overall portfolio of trades, because guess what? If you have a calendar on, it's positive vega. What kind of trade would you do to offset positive vega? How about a butterfly, negative vega? Maybe so, right? And there's all kind of things you should consider any portfolio trades, and most people don't. They're like, oh, I put this Amgen on, or Amazon, whatever. I put a Costco trade on, and I put a Boeing trade on, whatever. How do those interact with each other? What happens if market goes down? What happens if it goes up? What happens if volatility goes down or up? Got to know this stuff, right? And all the landmines that are out there waiting for all of us. So to tie all that together, bias, I think everybody should be in bias. It's $147 a month, or you can do $347 a quarter. You guys, we've already talked about bias and all that kind of stuff. I give the position spreadsheet. You guys have seen all that stuff. You know how we get notifications and all that. I have been informed that the price is going to go up. If you get it now, you will be locked in. And all you guys in bias, you're all safe. Don't worry if you're already in bias. Bias is a great, I don't know. It's just, you guys know I love it. I always talk about it, eat, sleep, and breathe it. And it's been very, very good. Been very consistent for a long, long period of time. If you want to take it to the next level, do the mentorship. The mentorship here is $49.97. And bias here is $147 a month, and quarterly is $347. The mentorship, we're going to do, again, we're going to deep dive into all this kind of stuff. This is only the third time that I've done this type mentorship. I did several in Vegas that were more of the 2-3 day kind of thing. This is a deep dive. We're going to be together for 7 weeks, trading together for 7 weeks. It's a lot, right? And let me show you what you get with that. If you do the mentorship, you're going to trade alongside me. We're going to do live trading. You can see at the top all the different things. I got 7 different classes. The mentorship comes with bias membership, so an annual membership too. So again, we've wrapped this as a lot of value. Bias annual membership. If you do the whole mentorship package here, we will do 4 live trading sessions together. And the reason I think this is important, very important, is I've got it structured. So we do a class, live trading, to put what we learned into practice, right? So class, live trading, class, live trading, class, live trading, class, live trading. And then we do at the end, we'll do some wrap up classes of how to manage an overall portfolio, how to beta weight, how to look for holes in your portfolio and look for opportunities and things like that. The live trading, of course, we're trading, real money and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the objective is to make money. And, as you have seen through up or down, the craziest markets that I've seen, we're still pretty consistent, right? And again, that's the name of the game. I've got a couple of bonus classes in here. This is by popular demand, actually from people in bias. And I haven't actually finished this class. I've almost got it finished. It's the mechanics of execution. And what we're going to talk about here is, how do you fish for trades? How do you get the best pricing? How do you leg in? How do you use the Analyze tab? You guys see me all the time using the Analyze tab on TOS. Very, very powerful. It's probably the most powerful tool that we've got. And a lot of people don't even know that it exists, right? Everything like this is an edge, can really, really help you. So I've got a mechanics of execution class. I've got, of course, weeklies class. You guys know I love trading the weeklies. I do limit my risk on the weeklies for the most part. There's several ways to do it where you can still limit your risk on these trades. But and you'll also notice that in the main trading room, I haven't, I used to do the butterflies and some of the other weekly trades just 3 days a week because we have the expiration. I do the end of the day trades and stuff like that. I have not been doing those much lately because they don't make as much sense currently. We're going to talk about that and maybe some alternatives here, and also how to use those strategies. And this is the icing on the cake, is the double diagonals. To me, this is the most effective trade out there, period. It's probably one of the more complicated trades out there, period. The way that I structure them, we will do uneven numbers of contracts, and we may do widen the spreads differently in order to achieve what we want. But again, most of the trades we've done this year, most of the money we've made has been on this super powerful strategy. And again, once you know this strategy, you're golden. You're good to go. And what's even more powerful about this, again, I think, what we have been going through in the market, here's the market, here's coronavirus, and we got the V-shaped recovery back up here. I don't think this is sustainable. Now maybe we may keep going. We could just easily come back up here as we could come back down here around election time or past election time or whatever. Again, I don't even know. I have no idea who's going to win. Even if I did, I don't know how the market's going to interpret it. But I think we're going to be in this kind of crazy chop, wild swing market for the foreseeable future. And I don't know if we're ever going to go back, at least not for a long, long time. So you got to know these strategies, right? And this one is super powerful. It's a super flexible trade, that and double calendars too. A really, really no stress or low stress, low heat kind of trade. And then lastly, in the mentorship, I do one-on-one phone calls to talk about, your portfolio or what you're hung up on, what you need help on, that kind of thing. And of course, we go back and forth on all the classes. We'll spend as much time as we need in the classes and that kind of thing. And I just don't do one-on-one classes or one-on-one sessions. People ask me all the time to do them. And it's not because I don't want to, because I actually do enjoy talking with people about their, issues of trading or progress or whatever, but I don't physically have the time to do it. That's why I'm doing, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this in the mentorship, and I've done it in the last couple times we've done the mentorship. And, again, I don't know when we will do the mentorship again, but this is a big, big, big part of it. Now we are limited to 50 slots in the mentorship coaching program, 50. And I always tell people this is not a marketing gimmick, because do the math. If I spend a full hour phone call with 50 people, how many hours is that? 50 hours that I'm on the phone, literally 50 hours. And now I do it over a 6-week period, but it's a lot. And I can't physically, I can't do 250. I just can't do it. I physically can't do it unless I'm up till 4 o'clock in the morning every day, nonstop. I just can't do it. So that is the program and how everything works. I highly recommend both, honestly. I mean, the bias program is, of course, a no-brainer. The mentorship, in my opinion, is a no-brainer for what you get for the money. There's a lot here on the table. And, think about this, because again, we've all done it, $49.97. How many times have you lost that much on a trade? It's been more than a handful of times for me over the years. You can easily lose, you could easily make that on trade. You can easily lose that on trade very, very quickly if you step on a landmine or something. And I can hopefully help you avoid the landmines and so forth. So again, that is what I really want to talk to everybody about. And they put this in here, a new and exciting feature. We now accept PayPal credit, which that's actually really cool. 0 interest for 6 months. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. I know we covered a lot, and I do want to take time for questions. So let's jump in. Let me jump back over here and see what we've got. Give me a second here. It's always Paul. Let's see. Inspector, if you had to wait on the mentorship, will there be other classes later? Inspector, yeah, of course. I have some classes on the company store. We always kind of shuffle those around from, take the old ones out and add new ones in, that kind of thing. I've got some classes on the company store, but even if you bought each class individually, it would be helpful, but it's not going to be anything compared to like having it all in one complete course. This is a system. This is a process. We're going to put it together as a curriculum. Start here, step 1, step 2, step 3. So this is a lot more effective, in my opinion. Let's see. Satya, trade stock but never traded options. So I want to ask your mentorship program will help someone like me starting from ground up. Satya, yes, it absolutely should. I would say it absolutely would, because what we're going to cover in the 7 classes, we're going to start with the basics. Here's a calendar, here's a butterfly, here's an iron condor, etc., and kind of work up from there. It would be better if you had kind of the basics, just the basic stuff. But it would definitely help you. And there's only one way to get it is to go through it. That's the only way you're going to get it, whether it is through me or a program like this or through a program like somebody else, or you do it kind of bit by bit over a long period of time. And that kind of goes back to, what's your opportunity cost of waiting and how much or, might you miss out on or lose while you're doing trial and error. So I hope that makes sense. Scott, we don't have any classes scheduled for Saturdays. However, they're all recorded. So, and I'm glad you asked that, because here's the other thing. Anybody that takes this, I would say in any class of mine, any class of anyone's, don't just watch it once, because I always say it's like a song. You hear a song 100 times, and then the next time you hear something that you never heard before. It's the same way with these classes. So you will have these classes to go back and listen to, and for forever. So if we do the class, you can obviously come back and and review it that way. We are doing them after the market closes. Obviously, the class itself, not the live trading, but the class itself. But that's the schedule that we've got right now. Let's see. Greg, is this even feasible if I work full time? I do have some access to market during the day. Yeah, Greg, a lot of people do. A lot of people trade, work full time and still trade. That kind of goes back to what I was saying on the, on the alerts kind of thing. I try as best I can to say, hey, here's a heads up, we've got a trade coming. And I posted the exact trade, and I say, if you don't know how to do this trade, you copy and paste it. All you do is copy and paste it, and put the order in. I would say if you are if you're out where you can't have internet or whatever, it won't be as effective. It could absolutely still work, but if you can break away for 10 minutes, yeah, occasionally. And we in the bias room, I spend a lot. I'm in there. The room is open all the time, and I will pop in and answer questions and that kind of stuff a lot. So if you ever get hung up and I'm not there, there's always a lot of people there to help. Jim, all right, good to see you here. Pacha Papa, good to see you too. Why is it called bias? It is Bruce's income accumulation service, BIAS. We were trying to come up with an acronym back when we started this in 2000 and the end of 2012, I guess, 2013. But yeah, Bruce's income accumulation service. Pachapapa, the average length of the trade right now that's a great question, because it's changed. Right now, we're averaging about 6 days. It used to be about 15. We've dialed it down. And also on the average, I used to include longer term trades like put credit spreads and maybe iron condors and maybe longer term butterflies. Here we're doing mostly weeklies, honestly. Our trades are anywhere from 3 to 6 on the long end. Maybe if we keep them longer, maybe we go up to 9 days, 10. But the duration has come down quite a good bit in the last 6-8 months. Pachi Pop, do you look at fundamentals or just trade on the field? You have stock or an instrument? I trade. I do. I grew up on the fundamental side. I was taught fundamentals, and reading earnings reports and all that kind of stuff, listening to conference calls and all that. But I'm heavy technical analysis now, and I primarily am fib levels and voodoo lines. I use Darvis boxes, of course, a lot, and just simple moving averages, stuff like that. For my stuff, what I trade in the time frames that I trade. But I do look at the big picture, of course, what's coming up. You got a Fed meeting here, you've got a presidential election, that kind of stuff from the macro picture. Absolutely. Let's see. Pachi Pop, last but not least, watch you in the options room. Makes a lot of sense to me. Thanks, I appreciate that. And Pachi Papa, that actually, thanks again. It reminded me one other thing. So in the main room, in the main options room, the gold room, I'm in there all the time, and I don't give the bias trades out in the main room because people in the main room aren't paying for it, and I don't want to, it's the bias people pay for it, right? So I don't mention any of these trades that you've seen on the track record have not been shared in the main room unless we're way deep into the trade already and it's already moved or something like that. Maybe I'll share it every now and then. But what I do non-biased trades, and I will say, like the trade I did today in Boeing, for example, and I posted that in the bias room, and I said, hey, this is not a bias trade. It's not going to go on the list of trades because it doesn't fit the criteria of what our traditional bias trade is. But here's the trade anyway. So we do a lot more number of trades than what you saw on the list there. And people in the room, we've got a lot of really smart traders, good traders, and we will kick around ideas, that are not bias trades and talk about them during the day. So I'm glad you mentioned that because, people in the main room will say, well, what are you doing in bias? And I'm like, well, I can't really talk about that, unfortunately. QB, the classes, they're after the close. And we have got them scheduled. I don't have it here in front of me, but I believe it's on Tuesday. Tuesday after the close every week for like 7 weeks. And then the live trading is on Thursday. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the schedule. That's what it was the last time we did this, which was a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago. I can't remember. This is not a regular thing. It's just when it's time to do it. And it is, this market is time, people are, having trouble, issues, whatever, in this kind of market. Now's the time to do it. Kind of same thing. Every now and then I do a black swan kind of class, that's when the time is right. All right. Let's see. What time does midship begin in? Yeah, I want to say it. I wish I had schedule here in front of me. I want to say it's 3:30 to 5:30. It's like 2 hours for class. We usually probably go 3. That's just me with my classes. If I have a 2-hour class, I'll make the class 2, and then we usually do Q&A. And Daryl's probably rolling his eyes right now because I have an engineering background, and I like to give the details to make sure everybody understands and doesn't, walk away with questions, right? Okay, good. Thank you. Caleb, yeah. Okay, so there are the strategy sessions 3:30 to 5:30. Yep, I thought, yeah, that's right, 3:30 to 5:30. Cool. Thank you. And the live sessions are 1 to 3 on Tuesdays. Actually, the classes are on Thursday. I got it backwards. But thanks for posting that. Joe, awesome. I am 007. Any prerequisite for the courses? No, not really. I would say any of the basics of I consider the 4 core strategies, you know, calendars, butterflies, iron condors, and then there's some variations of that, diagonals and so forth within the Greeks. You know, if you want to email me or customer support, anyone that's new or newer, I can help you. Also, the foundations class or module on the or room on the site has tons of good information. I've got some videos out there and stuff. It's like anything else. The more that you learn ahead of time, the better it will be. But also, again, this is stuff that you know, we'll cover everything from beginning to end. Let's see, TR, how much as a percentage of account is open at one time? TR, great question again. Yeah, so I told you guys I've been doing far fewer number of trades than I've done in a long time, and it's been far more effective than I've done in a long time. One, because the trades we're doing, we are putting more money in, and it allows us to structure a trade with, in most cases, we've got no risk on the downside and very, very little risk on the upside. There's a couple of ways we could do that. So in general, we are putting, lately this year, we've probably been putting anywhere from 20% into a trade. Let's see. Yeah, 10 to 20% maybe, which sounds like a lot, but if you've only got 2 trades on, yeah, it's and you can manage them. That's the key. And I wouldn't do that. I would never put that much money in a trade that had a lot of risk either way. The trades I'm talking about, structured trades, are very, very, we may have 150 points up and 150 points down of wiggle room before we have any, even take heat. So we are going heavier at this time, and much fewer number of trades overall than I've done in a long time. Atul, it's above the schedule there. I know you asked that earlier. And GCI. And Neil, it's really hard for me to say. I don't know what everybody trades, but I would say, you know, of course, bigger is better. You know, 100,000 is kind of sweet spot. I showed you that account with 10,000 I started, and I mirrored it to the bias trades, and I made, you know, I'm up 28 on that, and I started 10. It's going to be hard to do it with 3 or 4,000, you know. 10 is a good number to start, I would say. You could use less, and I'll tell you why. I do, like, for example, in the SPX trades, I will give an alternate trade of SPY if people want to size it down smaller. You know, so it's tough for me to say. Or you can just do fewer contracts if you want to go smaller. Or, as you saw in a lot of these cases, a lot of these guys are going a lot bigger than me. If I'm doing, you know, 10 contracts, they're doing 30, and I may do 30 in another account or something. Leslie says, I'm taking almost all your classes. Should I watch any of these videos before membership starts? Leslie, if you sound like you've been here for a while, and you, if you've taken all those classes, then you're pretty well up to speed. It, of course, would help, but you sound like you're up to speed enough. I don't know that I would spend too much time on that, honestly. Because what is more important is the basics of a butterfly, the basics of an iron condor, the basics of a credit spread, stuff like that. And what we will talk about is how does, you know, what's the skew of, you know, a trade, and how do you find the probability of profit, and, you know, look at the Greeks and that kind of stuff. That's where we'll get deeper into the you know, the weeds on this stuff. JM. I can't promise that, JM. It's hot in Texas. That's funny. Yeah, so the mentorship begins on August the 6th, so you got a couple of weeks to kind of get ready and all that kind of stuff. Day tick, do you put the double diagonals in the bias room? Absolutely. That's been our go-to trade for a little while now. And they're pretty awesome. If you structure them right, because you can structure them in a couple different ways depending on what you want to accomplish with the trade. But yeah, that's been our go-to trade in bias. Josh says, any chance there would be a package to follow the educational portion of this one-on-one training, but not to the calls, so you could expand the amount of people that would join? Josh, it's funny. Somebody else asked me that this morning. I don't know. Possibly. I don't know. That's a good question. I guess we will cross that bridge when we get there as far as, number of people. Like I said, we've done it twice before. Both times it sold out. But the ironic thing, not many, but 50 people. And looking back, I probably had 5 or 6 in each one that we scheduled a call and they would call and something came up and we would just never do a call. And I'd look, I'm here, you paid for it, and they would never do it. But anyway, so I'm at everyone's disposal during this course. Eileen, the discount for bias members is that portion, that cost is carved out. You're not paying for bias twice, put it that way. I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Clayton, can you describe bias more completely? Clayton, I don't know if I can describe it more completely than what we've talked about. It's a complete separate trading room. Here's the quick answer: it's a complete separate trading room, open every day. We're in there, we're watching the market, and whenever we get a setup, I post it, I jump in, turn the mic on, start talking, walk everybody through the trade, post the alerts, show the trade on the screen, and we all go in together. And I always encourage people in the room to post their fill prices on the screen so everybody knows where the fish are biting, right? And it definitely helps. But and then if you go to the actually, after this is over, if you missed the first part or whatever, when I talked about all the ways you get trade alerts and the returns and that kind of thing for bias. I hope that makes sense. T-Bird, thank you. I appreciate it. Dr. Call, that's a question for customer service. I would think you probably could. I don't know. Start the monthly and switch to quarterly. As far as us, content providers, we don't really have anything to do with pricing and all that. That's the marketing guys. Let's see. Akeem, do you meet every day in bias room with the traders in the room from Simpler? Yep. Well, now in bias room in general, it's just me. Every now and then I'll have somebody come in. Dave Starr came in and did a session not too long ago, but 99% of the time it's just me. There are a lot of other good traders in the room with us that are bias subscribers. Some really, really good traders in there. And it's every day. Yeah, every day the market's open, we're in there. At what point of the membership is the call with you the best time to do? Todd, it varies. Great question. When is the best time to do the call, one-on-one call? Some people want to do it up front and say, I've got these issues. I need to know before we get too far into this. And some people are like, I want to get completely finished and then do it. And we try to schedule it kind of through the length of it, because it's a lot of phone time, Let's see. Yeah, Scott. Yeah, you get a discount for sure. Yep. If you're already a bias member. And TD, Yes, you could do it if you have a full-time job. Yep, absolutely. As long as you're able to break away, as long as you're able to get text messages, alerts, and I know people actually put the orders in from their phone. That would be difficult for me, but because I'm not that savvy, I don't use toss on my phone, but if you can, break away for a few minutes and put a trade in here and there. We don't do a lot of number of trades. We will maybe add a contract or two here or there, but I always try to give everybody heads up on that. So I know a lot of people do work full time. Carmen, yes, all the sessions are recorded. Absolutely, absolutely. And I would encourage again everybody to, um, you know, to watch any of these classes. If you pay for a class, watch it more than once. I mean, it just seriously, the best analogy, again, you listen to a song, you know, over and over and over, and then you'll hear something that you never heard before. It's the same way with these classes. Gary, it's there. We'll go 2 hours on the class, and then we'll do Q&A after that. So I would kind of allocate 2.5, maybe 3. As long as you guys want to stay there and keep talking, we'll keep talking. For the most part, we're not going to stay there all night, but yeah, Angie, and let me say this, Angie. Thanks for mentioning that again. So I see a lot of people are newer. Let me do this. Let's call customer support and Caleb and some of the guys here. We'll try to get some ideas maybe from foundations or something that we can put in there for like a little primer, to kind of help get up to speed and everything. I mean, you could do it with nothing, with never traded before. You would be a little probably confused if you've never traded at all, but I'll try to get, I didn't really think about that. We'll try to get something together from a, basics of this and that kind of stuff together for anybody that's like brand new. It would definitely help. There's 32 years of trading packed into this course, literally. All right, let's see. Oh, Terry. Oh man, bummer. I hate you can't make it. And Karuna, yes, August the 6th is the start date. Blue Thunder had 50,000 in the program. That's approximately 10%. Yep, that's true. But again, you think about it this way. I mean, we could do an options trade and lose $5,000 in 30 minutes on Tesla or something, right? Or we could make $5,000 on a trade. So I mean, it's all relative. I mean, you've seen the numbers of the returns, and if you scale that up to a $50,000 account or a $100,000 account, the numbers still work the same. So that's, I mean, you're exactly correct, but that's a whole lot of time and effort and content to it's going to take us 7 weeks just to go through it all. Let's see. All right, LB, thank you. And Satya, have a suggestion for where to start? Sasha, if you are new, I would probably start, honestly, I'd probably start with calendar, how to trade a calendar, how to trade a butterfly. Those are kind of two of the go-to trades. And then credit spreads, maybe. Again, let me think about that a little more. That's where I would start, but maybe we can put something together for newer people. And CA, yeah, the times and dates are up above in the alerts. Yeah, James, we'll deep dive into all this stuff. Absolutely. Let's see. And Khalid, yep. Khalid, good to see you. Yeah, everything will be recorded. Joshua, okay. Caleb's got you, got an answer or responded to you there. MC, yeah, you'll absolutely, if you've traded calls and puts, verticals, and occasional butterfly, yeah, you'll get it. A calendar really is kind of like a vertical. It's not that difficult, but there's some nuances that we will absolutely, you can use to your advantage. Scott Average Jim, how's it going? And JKD, yes, JKD, yes, you do get the discount. All right. All right, guys. Well, let me wind it up here. I know we've kind of gone over. Raghee, yeah, the schedule's up above in the alerts portion, the dates and times. And Sherry, uh, it, yes, it will. Um, we're going to talk about how to run it any size portfolio, how to manage it as a as a portfolio. Put it that way. Yes. Um, so yes, absolutely. And we're not going to get into like the tax consequences of running it as a business, but we're going to get into how to run it like a business, portfolio wise. Greg, in most cases, the entries are not that time sensitive. The thing about any trading is that sometimes I always go in last because I post everything and then I put my orders in last, in general. And sometimes, depending on when you're going in, if the market's moving fast, you get a better fill. Sometimes you get a worse fill. Um, so a great deal of that depends on your ability to execute the trade, and a lot of that is based on the market, right, and the volatility. John, yeah, John, the dates are up above. We're starting on August the 6th. And I'm normally in the bias room. I have set hours in there on Wednesday, Friday, but what's been happening is anytime we set up, if we enter a new trade or we um, need to do anything with a trade or exit a trade, I will come in there and walk everybody through it. And also, I'm in there answering questions off and on most of the day. But again, we've got some really, really great traders in there. If I'm not in there, um, most of the people in there always jump in and help out with questions and so forth, right? All right. Um, let's see. Rich, good to see you. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. John, I would say in bias, I have been averaging from the beginning about 8 trades a month. We've dialed that back now. That's from 2013. In the last year, we've probably been doing 4 a month, maybe 5. Not many, not that many. Let's see. Yeah, Tom, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, J Dub, awesome. Glad you're in here. And Carmen, yep, we start on August the 6th. You guys will get a lot of information on this going forward, all right, guys. QB, no, it is not necessary to buy all the simpler indicators. I don't use a lot of indicators, honestly. Jason Z. Great question. We could spend some time on that growing account versus paying yourself. Either way, depending on the goal for the account. If you've got $100,000 and you just want some income, you do a weekly wire type thing out, or every time you get 20,000 bucks, you scrape it off the top, and that type thing. The more consistent you are, the easier it is to be able to do that and budget for it, right? Sandy, if you look up above, all of the classes are posted. Yeah, thanks, Caleb. Blue Thunder, I really don't use the Squeeze Pro that much. I use it, but not that. It's not critical to the type trades that we do. Put it that way. All right, guys. LK. No. If you don't have a finance background, no. I've talked about that earlier in the beginning of the presentation. I think anybody can do this, or actually in the middle. No, it that won't. Honestly, that really wouldn't probably help you a lot either, necessarily. A finance background, no, because what you really need to learn is the structure of the trades and how to use them and so forth. Cal, yeah, I'm the only trader in the bias room. It's not like the gold room where there's a bunch of different people coming in all the time. Going forward, we may have guest appearance by somebody, every now and then, but it's just me in there. But I like to keep it like that because I don't. That way I track all the trades, and we're all on the same page with all of our trades, thinking the same. All right. Sam, the minimum starting value. I mean, Sam, it depends. I would say I'd like to say $10,000. It's just if it's if it's $2,500, it's just gonna be it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard. It would work, but it would be really, it would take a while and it would be more probably frustrating. So I'd say probably, I hate to say a minimum because it depends on the person. You can always scale it down, just like you can always scale it up. But I would say as a guideline, 10,000 would be a good number. Maximus, the success with non-biased trades, actually has been really very, very well. I don't track those like the bias trades. I wish I would have because I know it's a lot more than bias trades, but I haven't done a lot of non-bias trades too much lately because I've been sitting on a lot of cash, trying to be really selective on the trades that we do take. SP, yes. If you're a mid-experienced option trader, that's ideal. Yeah, because that it will, then you'll get a lot of it, and it definitely would work. Ken, just doing the bias room, how long does it take to get up to speed? I would say probably 3 weeks, maybe. I don't think it'll be 3 days. And I'm just basing that on the going through the cycle of a trade with us, because new people come in there all the time and they're saying, should I take this trade or should I wait on the new one? And I'll tell them in most cases, wait to the new one. So we all go through it together. So they wait 3 or 4 or 5 days. We start a new one. It takes 4 or 5 days, 6 days to go through that trade. So that's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. You'll understand what's going on in there faster than that. But I'm talking about to start making money on trades, unless we just happen to get one that works really quickly, right? All right, guys. Let me wind it up here. I know everyone is, we've gone over, let's see, full-time, part-time. Jason, yes, absolutely could work for, especially for part-time. Yeah. But I know a lot of people work full-time and they still are, are successful. Vicky, yes, absolutely can do these in an IRA. Absolutely. We're not going to do anything crazy or naked or anything like that in an IRA. So all these trades are approved for IRAs. Steve, yes, we switched over the spreadsheet about 2 years ago to a better format because the old one was a very clunky, like a Word document basically. and it was very hard and cumbersome to work with, all that kind of stuff. So we switched over to the new one. The old one's back there. I think it's on the site actually. It's not as clear and easy to read as the one we've got. I've thought about going back and trying to recreate it and take all that data over into the new format, but I just haven't spent the time to do it. It's all there. Let's see. Yes, space, correct. Yes, correct. You would be locked in on, yeah, and Caleb, thank you. Caleb, you're on it tonight, and I appreciate you. Regina, um, no, it wouldn't hinder you. And the reason I say that is because I'll leave my charts up all day during the day, and I have almost every day, I'll have voodoo lines up, and you can see what levels I'm looking for. And I talk about the levels, and I'll write the levels that I'm looking at. So you don't necessarily need those at all for the trades that we do. It's helpful if you do, but it's definitely not required, because I'll tell you what those levels are. DG, yes. That's what's been working lately. We've been using calendars and diagonals, and that's where, that's really been working. So we've got to I want to keep focusing on what's working. And I think that's going to keep working for actually a while, just because I know this market's not going to settle down. Let's see. Dangalo, average weekly profit on $10,000 account. Oh man, I don't know. Probably I don't know. $400, $500, maybe not that much. I don't know. I'd have to have to do a little math. Right now we're basing everything off $25,000 account, but that account's actually now 50,000. I work on 4 on 4 off schedules way around work. Inspector, yeah. Again, inspector, as long as you get a text message and can have access to a computer, you can still work and do trades, just like any other kind of trading. This is not any real different from anything else. If you're in the gold room or anywhere else and you have a trade on, if you can get an alert and do a trade, that's all that you really have to do. Let's see. Ivy, yeah, I was gonna say, Ivy, you've taken the mentorship before. Awesome, thank you. All right, guys. Well, let me wind it up here. Awesome, Vanessa. Awesome. And Tim C says, you also talk about what could happen with trade in the future, different what if scenarios. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I always try to give, again, especially if you're going to stay in a trade, here's what to expect, or here's what might happen, to get you to forward think a trade. And that's what we're going to learn to do in the mentorship, is how to do that, and I do that in bias all the time for people. So thanks for saying that, Tim. I appreciate it. Kevin, it's tough to say. Most of these are not that time sensitive. Some are, depends on how fast the market's moving around, but in general, I don't like to set them up when there's real time crunch. But it mostly depends on what the market's doing. Falcon, yes, exactly. Yep. If you do the mentorship, then you don't pay anything for bias for the next year. Tom says premium service or spread weekly in the summer. Tom, the only way really to do if you would miss 2 sessions is just watch the recordings, and so think of it this way: if you have to watch a recording, if you have to miss it, everybody might miss 1 two or whatever. If you miss one, then on the next one, if you're there, it'll be live, and we can certainly go back and ask questions. And on the live trading, if you miss the class, but you watch it, it's recorded, and we do the live trading, you'll have, 3 hours or 2 hours, whatever, to ask questions on the class. KB, the biggest benefit to the mentorship versus attending buy stream daily. The biggest benefit of the mentorship is really to learn how to do it yourself. And once the mentorship's over, if you're in bias, we do this day in, day out, and it really kind of cements what you learn because you're seeing it in action, so it is a really good combo. Anthony, okay. All right. Caleb got that. And Maximus, yes, those, I don't track, I really should track that stuff, the non-biased trades, but I haven't, because at one point we were doing a lot of non-biased trades, and I just didn't track them. I should, because we made a lot of money with them. Mike, the bonuses will be new material. Yes, all this is new material. A lot of it is the same concept. I mean, butterfly is butterfly, but maybe we trade it a little bit differently now than we did, years ago or whatever. Different markets require different tweaks and tricks and tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff, right? All right, Gary, wonder if you were in here. Good deal. All right. Guru, I attended your Seesaw premiums and Black Swan classes, those precursors to the mentoring package. Yep, they are. Absolutely. We'll probably get into a little bit of Black Swan stuff and, talk about that as well. It's certainly not required, but it would help, right? All right, guys. Bob, yes, Bob. In fact, let's see. If you did the four core, the Greeks, Iron Condor, Wagon Wheel, yeah, we're going to cover all that same stuff. And we do that. We do those trades in bias. The mentorship's going to cover a lot of that. Again, most of those classes were you must have been here for a while, because some of those classes are old, especially Wagon Wheel. That's way old class. But anyway, everything in this one is up to date based on current market and so forth. So you could benefit from bias and or the mentorship, because again, that's what we do in bias, is use those strategies and those those different strategies and kind of implement them through the current market. Kevin, I would say in general on our bias trades, you want to get in ideally the same hour, but same day usually works. Some people don't get in for a day or two, and they may get a better price or a worse price, depending on what the market's doing, right? Robert, I would say it's not so much how much study time you need initially. The more the better, I would say. Maybe re-watch the class. That's 2 hours. Take some notes, write down some ideas as we go along, or you go through the whole thing, and then over the next, on your own, after the program's over, then you go back and say, every Saturday, I'm going to watch a couple hours. That's what I used to do. I would get up in the morning on Saturday morning, make a big pot of coffee, and I'd sit there from 7 till 10 or whatever, and I'll tell you, I did this too. Honestly, I did this. I used to watch, if you go to CBOE website, they have a bunch of videos, and they used to, training videos. I don't think they really do that stuff anymore, but I literally would make a ham sandwich or whatever, and I would sit there on my lunch hour and I would watch training videos. For years, I did that. Now this was long, 20 years ago, but got to learn it somewhere, right? Oleg, yeah, I kind of covered that on who not would recommend not taking this. And it's the biggest thing, if you're trading, if you're a day trader and you're in and out, 45 times a day, this is not what we're going to be talking about. That's probably the biggest thing. And also, well, there's a lot of things actually. Probably better to go back and review this class and see. But a lot about being able to stick with a plan and having realistic expectations of what we're trying to accomplish and all that stuff. All right, guys, I have got to get out of here. I'm keeping everybody here late. And thank you, MC and everybody else. Anyone, if you have classes, the guys on the phones know everything. If you guys in bias, of course, we talk about this all the time. And if you sign up for bias, we can talk about it as well. So with that, if you got something that you really need to know, of course, send me an email. I will admit, and I say this all the time, I'm terrible at emails just because I get so many. So it's hard for me to respond quickly. You will get a quicker answer asking the question in a trading room or calling customer support. But my email is bruce@simplertrading. And let's see, Abel says, what would be the max account size? Abel, I would say there's not, honestly, it's not really a max size because I can show you on a larger account. I'm talking 5 million, 10 million, whatever. You widen out spreads and you do those type things to overcome the number of contracts and that kind of thing. But I would say realistically, probably, I don't know, 5 million. The large, once you get 10 million, 5, 10 larger, it gets harder to soak up and get things placed as efficiently, as effectively, maybe. But no problem with 250, 500 million. That's not a problem. Ryan, them to put some calls. If you can do spreads, you have to do spreads, verticals, debit spreads, credit spreads, calendars and butterflies to make it. I would check, Ryan. I would be surprised if your brokerage, your broker won't let you do spreads like a calendar, a diagonal, or a butterfly. Those are basic kind of spreads. If you absolutely cannot do those, you're not going to be able to do a lot of the things that we do to make money, honestly. Yeah, Doc Rock. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, because a lot of bias traders, they absolutely do scale up the size on these trades. Tango Trader, thank you. I appreciate that. And Nikota, I love voodoo lines. Absolutely, I use them all the time. They're like I was talking about earlier, they're really not required because I have them and you can see them on my screen for the bias trades. You really don't need them. But if you've got them, it's definitely a compliment, I guess. All right, guys. I keep saying I'm going to wind it up, but I just want to make sure everybody's getting their questions answered. Akeem, 7,500 would work. That would work. You could do that, and you could size with like SPY. And here's the thing too. If I'm not going to say it's too, any account is too small or too large. What you really want to do is learn how to do it. And whatever size account you have, you take it to the next level. Everybody has to start somewhere, right? Doesn't matter what size account is, if it's large or small. But I think that's very doable. That one I showed you on the screen, I started with 10,000. I had two that started with 10,000 actually this year. The other one is up. I've doubled it. I started with 10 and it's at 25 right now. But yeah, so that would work. All right, guys. Well, let me get out of here. If you have a burning question and customer support can't help you, certainly, shoot me an email or something. I will try my best to stay on it. Also, if you're in the main room, I'm in there Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 1 o'clock Central. You can ask me in there, no problem at all. Of course, if you're in the bias room, you ask me anytime, and I will try to help you guys any way that I can. I really appreciate everybody being here and hanging in there. I know we went a lot longer than I thought we would, but it's some really cool stuff, and I'm really excited about it. I know it works. I've put this into a process and a system. It's taken me many, many, many years to do that, but it's pretty effective. So I love to share it with people, right? So with that, I really appreciate it. And again, I know customer service, Caleb, I don't mean to throw you under the bus, but and everybody else, I don't know who else is there, but they'll be around for a little while. I know some people are saying they're having trouble getting through and all that kind of stuff, but hang in there. And again, if you have questions that I can help you with, shoot me an email or ask me in the trading rooms. And if customer service can't answer for you, I'm also going to put a little more thought into maybe what we can do on some beginner stuff, to a primer kind of thing to help anyone that's newer. So don't think you're too new to do this. You got to start somewhere, and you might as well start with a full-blown comprehensive plan, right? All right, guys. Well, I appreciate the time. Awesome time. I appreciate everybody being here, and I will see everybody. We'll be back at it in the morning in the bias room, and tomorrow's Thursday. I'll be in the main room on Friday, and we'll see what we can get and try to keep on trading, make some money. So thanks for the time, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.